Joining us now is Chip Bergh. He's president and CEO of Levi Strauss. Chip, great to have you here.
Hi, Sarah.
Great to see you helping
me.
People. No problem. I want to talk about what you're doing to help people, with their civic duty here to vote, and whether you had any hesitation getting on board with something like this, given even the process of voting in this election, by mail and otherwise, has become politically charged and heated.
Well, this effort called Make Time to Vote actually goes back to the midterm elections back in 2018. The 2016 presidential election had the lowest voter turnout of registered voters in history, and less than 50% of registered voters showed up for the presidential election in 2016. And so for the 2018 midterm elections, we joined with Patagonia and with PayPal, two of my favorite CEO partners. And we led this coalition to try to get a collection of companies to join us in giving their employees time off to vote. One of the major barriers to voting, we're one of the few democracies in the world where election day happens on a work day. It's not a holiday. It's not a weekend. It falls on work day. And as you probably know, the greatest lines at the polls are before work and after work. So the idea was partner with companies to encourage them to give their employees time off so that they can go to the polls and be sure to fulfill their civic duty. The midterm elections had the highest voter turnout, I think in part because of our effort, since the 1960s. And so we decided, given the significance and the importance of the upcoming elections, and given the challenges, as you said, in the middle of a pandemic, we decided to renew this effort and set a goal to get 1,000 companies to join us. And we just passed that goal a week ago, and now we're marching towards 1,500, and hopefully we'll get more after this little segment. But, and that represents companies from all 50 states, from all industries, basically. We have two of the country's largest employers, with Walmart and Target joining us. And the whole idea is to educate, inform your employees, and ensure that they've got the opportunity and the time to go vote.
Yeah, I don't know why this country holds elections on Tuesday and not on weekends, but that's another conversation for another day. Wanted to ask about what your expectation is for consumers around election. Every day someone comes on this network and says, we're expecting volatility, we expect uncertainty, both about the outcome of the election and whether we'll even get an outcome of the election. Do you expect that to trickle down into uncertainty that could impact consumer spending and behavior?
Well, there is no shortage of uncertainty today because of the pandemic and the economic fallout from that. And certainly the election will likely contribute to more uncertainty. But I'm very, very hopeful that, we will get through this process, that the process and the process and the system of voting is going to work, regardless of whether an individual goes to the polls or does mail-in voting, absentee voting. That there's going to be a clear outcome to the elections at all levels, and not just talking about the presidential election or the federal elections. It's just as important with all of the social justice and racial equality issues that this country is facing, that we get strong voter turnouts to send a signal to our elected officials at the city level, at the county level, at the state level. Those elections are just as important. And I think if consumers or individuals feel satisfied that their voice has been heard at the polls, consumer confidence will roar.
Chip, how strong? Sorry, excuse me, Chris. How strong is the? Sorry, it is Chip. My sincere apologies. I've dug myself my own hole there. I'll slowly try and climb out. Just wanted to ask you what the consumer is looking like though at the moment in the absence of another stimulus bill. Do you think that we're going to be heading meaningfully south again in terms of retail spending, consumer spending?
Well, we're in the middle of our quiet period, so I can't give you a lot of specifics about our business. But since we've been able to reopen our stores, which goes back to kind of late May, early June, around the world, by the way, because we're a big global company and a global brand, we've seen really strong consumer uptake. We literally, because we have to limit the traffic going into our stores, we oftentimes have lines out the door of consumers waiting to get into the Levi's store. Our brand has arguably never been stronger. And, and we're seeing the consumers are coming into the store kind of on a mission. I mean, the other big thing that's happened through the pandemic, and I know we've talked about it a lot on this program, is the shift to digital and the shift to e-commerce. And that is something that I believe is going to sustain. But there are going to be a number of consumer trends that the pandemic has created that I believe are going to be sustainable. The shift to digital is one. Focus on sustainability is another one. I think the consumer is going to be much more focused on conscious consumption as opposed to conspicuous consumption. And a lot of these dynamics and a lot of these trends really play to our sweet spot as a brand.